Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video. And I got something exciting today to do to the van build. Something I feel is the most exciting part for me, but also slightly overwhelming as well. It's the electrical system. So I'm going to be installing the battery, all the electrics, all from scratch. I've got none in there. You might have noticed on some previous videos that you watched, I did have a basic little setup in there. I had a little tiny 50 amp hour lithium battery and a Victron DC to DC charger and a fuse box. That was just so I could power the max fan and the light that I had in there, and I think that was it. An awning light as well, which I never really used because I haven't really been anywhere much. So yeah, that's all gone now, and I've now got a whole new system, the actual system that I'm ready to fit to the van. So let me show you what I've actually got. The heart of the system is this Roma 460 amp hour lithium battery. Now this is an absolute beast. This is the biggest one that they do. Look at the size of that. It's around 40 kg and it is absolutely monstrous, and it is really heavy. It takes some, it takes a bit of effort to lift that up and even get it on the bench. And I've got all of this Victron gear that I've just unpacked, and all the cables. It's all just came in that box there. That was the battery in that box. I've had that for a little while now, the battery. But I just didn't want to talk about it until I had everything to build it. Now the only thing I haven't got is I haven't got the inverter. I want the Victron 3000 VA inverter. But I just didn't have the funds for it, to be honest. And I figured that I could still set my system up without it. And still plan it without it. I'm going to put all the cables in for it. So Roma have been really helpful in supplying everything I need for the system. So everything you see here, except for the Lynx distributor and the smart solar charge controller for the solar panels, which I bought ages ago, they're the only things they didn't supply. Everything else they've supplied. All the cables, I just went with them in the end because it just was so much easier. So one of the good things about Roma is when you buy one of their batteries, what they do is they do you a wiring diagram, and they'll help you to set your system up and plan it all. So you tell them what you want. So you have like a half-hour consultation with them, and they can do that over your phone, like a video, like a video conference call. You can tell them what you've already got in mind that you want to use in the van, whether you want to have 12 volt, 24 volt, whether you want to have an inverter, whether you want solar panels, whether you have air fryers or microwaves or whatever you want in your van. You tell them everything that you want, and then they will go away and they will design all your system for you, and then they will come up with a wiring diagram, which makes life so much more simple. Because if you're like me, I've never built a big system like this. I've built little systems. I mean, I did a little one in my caddy van, but it was so simple. It was literally a battery, a fuse box, and DC to DC charger, a couple of inline fuses. It weren't really nothing to get your head around if you got a basic understanding of stuff. But this has got to be right, because you're putting in 230, 240 volt. You'll know what I mean. You obviously know what I mean if you're watching this video. It's just a huge undertaking, and if you're not an experienced van builder or an electrician, it can seem a bit overwhelming, and you can find yourself looking on Google and YouTubing it and looking everywhere and in forums and Facebook groups trying to figure out how to actually do it. How do I wire this up, and how big do my cables need to be, and where do I fuse, and should I fuse there, and how do I connect my solar panels correctly, and what consumer units do I need, and all of that kind of stuff. And it's all those little questions that you're trying to figure out. Roma just do it all for you. You don't have to figure any of it out. You just tell them what you want, they send you what you need, and if you want to buy it all from them, which is what I did in the end, it was so much easier. They just literally told me everything that I needed for the wiring diagram that they sent me, and it all got sent out to me. So that's where we are. And the reason why I went for a Roma battery over all the other batteries, I did look at other batteries. I was looking at, the Victron batteries, the Fugstar batteries. But the reason why I went with the Roma was when I did my research, I felt like Roma were the top tier battery. I felt like they were the premium battery company in the UK. And the big tick for me was the fact that they offer you a 12-year warranty with the battery. That's massive. 12-year warranty is huge, because when you buy one of these, they're not cheap, and you want this thing to last you a long time. Some people don't ever even have a vehicle for 12 years. Ever. I mean, I've had my my Range Rover, I think, coming on to 11 years now, but it's been parked up for 4 years, not on the road. So it's not really been used. I don't think I've ever had a vehicle that long in my entire life. I do plan to keep my van that long, but you never know, do you, what happens really in the future. But I looked at the other batteries, like I said, and the other big thing, the other big tick for me was what really sold it to me, is that they're fully serviceable. So if anything goes wrong with the battery, you can then send the battery back, and then they can open it all up and replace every single part in the battery. Or if you're abroad, maybe overseas somewhere, they can send out the parts and then you can do it if you feel like you've got the knowledge to do it. I haven't looked at opening one of these up. I haven't looked at the battery, because hopefully I'll never have to do that. Because another big thing about Roma is that they've got their warranty claims down to a minuscule amount. Now, I'm trying to think what he told me when I spoke to Steve, the owner. It was something like 99 point something %. What I'll do is I'll put it up on the screen to show you basically how many warranty claims they've actually had, which was absolutely minuscule. They said they've got it to the point now where they're not really getting any. So they've got these so reliable that they're not having any issues with them. So you've got an ultra reliable battery, 12-year warranty, and it's fully serviceable, and they do the wiring for you and send you out everything you need. So literally it's a one-stop shop. You're done. All you got to do is put it together according to the wiring diagram, which is what I'm going to do shortly. And just a note, I am a brand ambassador now for Roma, but I'd already chose the Roma battery before I became a brand ambassador. So just want to make that clear. It wasn't that I became a brand ambassador and now I'm trying to tell you how good the battery is. I'd already decided on the battery because I'd already looked at it, and then I approached Roma and said, look, I want to buy one of your batteries. Is there any chance you can do something with me for YouTube? Because that's one of the perks of being a content creator, is you can then get discounts on stuff. And they were happy to give me a massive discount for the battery. But if you want to buy one of these batteries and you use my link, you can actually save 5% as well. So what I'll do is I'll put the link to that down in the description. If you want to go with Roma, if you think what I'm saying, you agree with it and you think it's all good and you're happy to do it, then yeah, click on the link, buy a battery from Roma, and hopefully it'll be a thumbs up from you as well. But I'm going to get on with this now. But the first thing I've got to do is I've got to build the electrical cabinet. So I've just took all of that out of the box. I've just gone through all that to see if I've got everything, which I have. I've just checked it off the little sheet that they send with all the ticks where they've ticked everything off. But now I've got to build my electrical cabinet before I can install anything. Now I have already pre-cut and measured a load of pieces of wood. I've used that hex board to build it. Well, I haven't built it. I'm going to use the hex board to build it. And that's what I'm going to be doing now in this video right now. So I don't know how many parts this video is going to be. Depends on how long it takes me to do it all, I suppose. I'll try and keep it as short as I can. Now that I've told you all about the electrical stuff and the battery and everything, we can get on with this. But I will show you actually what I'm actually installing as well before we do that. I don't know if you've seen any previous shots of my garage. Maybe you have. But I didn't have this. I've made a workbench out of scrap wood. I had a load of scrap wood sitting there. I had a big sheet of 18mm ply and loads of scrap bits of wood, and I thought I need a bench to work on to actually build this system. So I built this bench a couple of days ago out of scrap bits of wood, and it didn't cost me a penny, so that's really good. But what I've actually got, so I've got a Servo GX. Let me put one of those in. Now that was recommended to me by Steve at Roma, because he said if I get one of these, they can then actually configure the system for me, so they can actually remotely access my Victron system and set it up and help me get it all organised. Because personally, I haven't got a clue about anything like that. And when it comes to the software side of things, I'll just be scratching my head going, well, I'm going to do this, and I'd have to be searching and Googling and YouTubing. But Roma are there to give me support, which is what they'll do for you as well. I've got an Orion XS 50 amp DC to DC charger. Now the one I previously had was a 30 amp, so this is going to charge this baby up a lot quicker. I've got a Victron MPPT 100 by 50 solar charger. I don't know what's in here. I think this is the this is the Victron touch screen. I think it's called a GX Touch 70. Yeah, it is. I've got the screen. That's going to be mounted up above my sliding door, I think, is where I'm planning. It comes with this little protective case, which is nice. I have a... oh, I'm trying to get through all of this here. I've got a Lynx distributor to connect everything into. Bought that ages ago. I'd already decided to use one of these a long time ago. All these various cables, all these Victron cables that you need to connect everything. Some battery terminal insulators. Comes with, you know, mega fuse holders, more cables, all the fuses. I've got two fuse boxes, two 12-volt fuse boxes in here. Good quality ones, not your cheapo eBay Amazon ones. All the stuff for the solar there. They supplied all my lugs, everything. More fuses. I've got a 400 amp mega fuse there, and all the other fuses, the other mega fuses. That's all there in that bag, labelled nicely. I've got all the cable in here. I've got these are the consumer units. I haven't even opened these yet. Metal consumer units. I've got two of those. I think this is the smaller one. I haven't even opened these myself, so I don't even know what they look like. Okay. Yeah. I think this is the battery cut-off switch. Yeah, Blue Sea battery cut-off switch. All of the RCBOs in there for the consumer unit. I've got three of those fuse boxes. I think I've gone through everything. That's the enclosure for the solar cut-off, which is there. Solar panel's going to go into that. I think that's it. I've actually gone through it all. I have, haven't I? Yeah. So now I've got to tidy all this away so I can actually now make the cabinet. So bear with me. So this is what I'm working with. I've already cut this piece to the arch. I've already had this piece fitted actually, and I've took it back out again. But my plan was to build it kind of like this. It's going to be quite hard to show you. Right, this is what I'm going to use for the battery. So I was thinking, so that's on the wheel arch. That's above the wheel arch with the battery on here. It's going to sit like that though because of the way my van is. It's going to sit like that. I'm going to have the battery on there, and then I'm going to have, I'll try and do this now and hold it in place. Probably just easier to scoot together to show you, wouldn't it? Have that underneath like that. It's not going to work, is it? And then on this piece, I'm thinking of putting all the components on, all the Victron stuff. Battery on there, and then this panel, I'm going to have it like there. Yeah, inverter. I wrote it on the back, so I know which is which. So I knew that when I put them away, I might forget what they were. So this bit will be there like that. The inverter will bolt onto here. But first of all, I've really got to double check that all my Victron stuff's going to fit on here. So I need to get all of that out of the box really. and see if that fits on here. I haven't opened any of these yet. Oh, do you know what? I can't believe how small that is. That's the Orion. Oh wow, that's so small compared to the old one. I don't even weigh anything. Wow, that's awesome. Is it normal to be this excited over Victron stuff? Or any electronics for your van? Does anybody else get excited over this sort of stuff? It's like cool gadgets. That's quite small as well, isn't it? The Turbo GX, that's a lot smaller than I imagined. I know this is fairly big. I bought this a while ago. I suspect they probably make a smaller one of these now. Oh, okay, it all fits on there though, doesn't it? In whatever order I decide. Yeah, that's exactly how I want it. I'll probably put the Orion up this end maybe. I'll probably put that there. Maybe I'll put that there. The Orion there. The Turbo GX there, and the Lynx distributor there maybe. I don't know, I'm going to have to figure this out, aren't I? Is there going to be enough room for the cables though, for this? Might have to turn this upside down and put the sticker on it, because I think you can connect the battery cut-off switch to that, so there might be room for that as well. There, hopefully I can do that. But I could just put that, to be honest I could put that anyway, couldn't I? I could put that on the inverter, not on the inverter board, on that part there even. I think I need to build the box. Now that I know they all fit, I think it's time to get the box built, isn't it really? And then I can plan it a bit better then. But I just kind of wanted to see if they would fit where I was planning, because that's kind of what I was thinking in my mind, how I wanted it visually, but I've never actually, this is the first time I've ever done this, so you're here with me while I'm doing the actual real planning, not what's just in here. I also just wanted to double check to see if the battery went on okay. Plenty of room. Yep. That fits nicely. And what I've decided to use to connect all this, I've bought these little, they call them assembly joints, but I've always thought they were furniture blocks. See those? I'm going to use those to connect it all together, because it's too thin. It's only 9mm, it's too thin for pocket holes. Originally I wanted to pocket hole it, but it's too thin. So this was my next best solution. Now I'm debating on whether to glue it as well. I might glue it together as well, put some wood glue on it. Shouldn't ever be taking it apart. But that's the only thing, isn't it? If you use wood glue, it's permanent. If you ever need to change anything, you can't, can you? I need to think about this one while I'm putting these on. I'm going to put these about 50mm in. Right, I've come into the van to sort of mock fit where it's going to go. I've put the backboard up there, but what I wanted to double check was how deep I need to leave the gap for the biggest item, which is the Lynx distributor, because that's kind of how I want to build it look. As I was saying earlier, it's probably easy to see it in here. I probably should have just showed you in here and saved the time. So I've marked it, it's about 90 mil between there and there, look, and that gives me enough space with a little bit of at the front, but crucially enough space at the back for the wiring to come through, because I want the wiring hidden behind here. Now I was gonna put some insulation, I was going to insulate it out, but I don't think I've got enough space to do that now, in all honesty. I cut these to allow for 25mm kingspan to go in there. I was going to build a little kingspan box over that wheel arch. Although that wheel arch is insulated with 10mm thermoliner and then carpet, I was just going to insulate it further, just to insulate the battery from the cold. But looking at it now, there's not going to be enough space with the wiring. So I may have to insulate on top. I have to think about it. Should have plenty of room, so I have to have a look now. What I did is I just got the other piece and lined it up with this, so I know exactly where I want to put the blocks, rather than remeasuring, because I measured them all out so they're all even on this piece. So now they're going to be in the same place, look. So I'm just going to screw that together now. Now I've actually made the box for the wheel arch, and I have used glue. I decided to use glue because I can't see any reason why I would ever take this apart. So I decided to make this as strong as possible, considering it's going to have the battery on it. So that's why I've put plenty of these in. As you can see, I've got like 5 that side, 5 that side, and then I've got 2 on that one. So let's flip it over, and then you can see what I've made. There you go. So the battery's going to go on there, the component's going to go into there. Now effectively I've just made a wheel arch box, but for some reason it feels like a really big achievement to me. Because it took me ages to do that, because I wanted to get it just right and perfect as I could get it. Let's try and get it in there and see, but you may have already spotted the problem. Well, you won't immediately notice it, but it won't fit because, I don't know if you can see, I've put in a temporary shower cubicle as a tester to see how I feel with the shower in the van, and that won't fit because the board's in the way. So yeah, I'm going to have to mess around with that now. That's what I'm talking about. You know when I said if I glue it I won't need to take it apart again? Guess what? I do have to take it apart again because I made a bit of a boo-boo. Look what I've done. To be able to screw those in where I need it to be, I can't get to them because I need to go that way, and they're like these TX20s, but luckily I've got my ratchet. I'm hoping I can put some in that way. Should be able to just ratchet them in that way, because I wanted to make sure that it was in the right place. So I wanted to screw them in, make sure it was in the right place. Didn't think about it until I've just come to do it now, but yeah, I don't really know what else I could have done really, but oh well, I'll get on with it, get it done somehow. Well, that was a real faff. I should have put this piece on first, and then I should have put this on after, so I could have just screwed in. Doing it with the ratchet was a nightmare. I had to do those two and then take it out into the garage and try and do it, and ended up nearly ripping the bloody screw out of there. So I've glued that on now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece in here, I think, and I might even put a piece across there to stop this from flexing. Just make this a bit stronger, because obviously there's going to be a 40 kg battery going on there, and really at this end there's only those furniture blocks holding it. So I'm going to put another piece in here and a piece across there, just to make it strong. Right, so I'm going to get on with that now in a minute. Right, we're on a new day today, and today I did actually get that piece made that I was talking about to give it a bit of strength. I started doing it last night, I measured up for it, and then I just thought I want to leave it and start tomorrow. So I made that. I've actually painted it because it's my OCD and it needs to be black like the rest of it, even though you're never going to see it because it's going to be covered. Because I'll show you exactly what I've done now and what I've been doing for the last few hours this afternoon. This is what I've done so far. Now I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I've been messing around trying to get all these components on, how they're going to fit. That's going to be my cut-off switch, my links distributor, so obviously my battery cable will go into that, and then that will go into that, and that's obviously how you turn all the power off from the battery to the whole system. I originally thought that was going to bolt onto this, but because this is a Blue Sea one and not a Victron one, it doesn't actually go on because the bolts are too big in this. There's my solar charger, and there's my DC to DC charger. Now this is the area I've really been struggling with. I did have all of these mounted there where those 12 volt fuse boxes are. That's your consumer units, and your solar, that's your solar. That one there, look, that's the solar panel, solar panel is going to go into it, and then it's going to have, you know, you're going to be able to turn it on and off with that switch. I did have them there, but then there was no real room for the 12-volt fuse boxes, because I don't know if again you can see pencil line. I've roughly marked out enough space for my battery with some extra bit of room around it, because I don't want stuff right next to the battery, you know, like on top of it. I want a bit of a gap if I can. So I figured I'd mount them on that panel there. Didn't dawn on me at first. I was struggling with all of this, couldn't fit it all in, thinking I can't fit all of this in. And I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also thinking of putting the cables coming through there and along here, and then just poking them through, you know, making holes, trying to keep it neat. Although I don't know if that's worth the hassle, because I could just run them along there. But I don't think I can get any of that blue, you know, that blue cable tidy stuff that you can buy. Not unless I move them up a bit. I don't know how big it is because I haven't got any. I could run that along there to run all the cables in. So there's either that solution, or run them through and just poke them through as needed, and run on behind here and the space behind there, which is what I was planning on doing. But this is the sort of stuff that you don't know about when you're actually going to do your electrical system. If you haven't done one before, you haven't designed one for anyone, you just come in to do yours, in your head you just think, oh, as soon as I've got my wiring diagram, I'll just be able to crack straight on with it and get on with it, and it won't take me long. And this just took me hours. I've been literally looking at it for hours, and I know I've got OCD and I want everything right and perfect, but what I don't want to do is like screw something down, start drilling holes for cables, and then go, oh no, I shouldn't have put that there, that's not going to work. And a couple of times I have moved stuff because I've discovered something's not going to work. So I'm hoping this is the final layout. But yeah, there's not really much to record at the moment because I'm just trying to plan it all. So when you come to this stage, you'll know what I mean. I think everybody's probably, for the first time, gone through this. Right, first component screwed down. I'm going for it now. Well, I've done a little bit, but I'm not really making very good progress. I'll show you what I've actually done so far. I've got that on. I've got that on. I haven't got that on, but I've got that on. Because you need some sort of washers to mount this. And I also got that bit in as well. So I've got, you know, I needed to put it in for strength, especially when I'm screwing down onto that. But it's coming up to dinner time soon, so I think I'm going to call it a day. Feels like I haven't really done much, to be honest. I've spent many hours just staring at it, moving things around, trying to work it out like I was already saying. So, and I've managed to screw a couple of components down. But I was busy this morning. I didn't have time. I had a doctor's appointment this morning, so I couldn't really crack on with this until I'd had that. So I've only had a few hours on this really to date. So hopefully I can get back on it tomorrow. So I'm going to go off for my dinner now. Morning everyone. We've had a bit of a change of plan this morning. You know, all of that planning that I did and spent hours trying to arrange where I wanted everything, and then I screwed all of those Victron components down. Well, when I went home last night and I sat and thought about it, I decided I wanted to make some slight changes. I wasn't happy with the switch being there, like there, and then having to make a cable for that little short run. I just didn't know how that was going to go. So what I did is I did a little bit of research online, and you can drill these out. Anyway, I drilled that out with a 10mm drill bit, titanium drill bit, and now I've got my switch in there like that. Where's the actual, let me see if I can find the cover for it. So now look, when that goes on, that's going to be much tidier. There you go, I'll put the cover back on for the link distributor. That's a lot nicer, isn't it? That's a lot neater. And I can fit more on, because I've moved the solar controller over. The Turbo GX fits in there, well I don't have to move the Orion that I'd already screwed down, look. Now I was planning to get all this done today, that was my thoughts. I thought, right, I'm going to try and get all this electrical system done. But in reality, for somebody that's not a professional at this, I don't think it's a wise thing to try to rush this. The thing is, I'm going away tonight. I'm going to go and see my kids, and I'm going to be staying in the van. I did want to get all the electrical system in, but I've had loads of other stuff I've had to do as well in the meantime, which keeps interrupting me. So instead of having like full days on it, I haven't had that. I've only had like afternoons, like a few hours. So pretty much got most of the day today, although I have got to leave like late afternoon, and it's a bit of a it's like a 200 mile drive. So I think the wise part of my brain is going, don't rush this, just wait. And I do have a power station. I don't know if you can see it down there. I've got this Power Oak power station that I've had for years, and really all I need to run off that is this fridge. Now, I've been gifted this fridge. A company on Amazon sent me an email a couple of weeks ago asking me if I'll be interested in taking a look at one of their fridges. Now, funnily enough, the same week that they emailed me that, I was actually discussing with a friend. I thought it would be a good idea to get one of these fridge freezers, because this is the point. This is why it's so good. Because I was thinking, in the garage area, next to where the electrics are going to go, I was thinking about having one of these like chest freezers here. And I was actually looking at them, thinking, yeah, I might want to put one here, so I've got some extra space for a freezer. So I've got some extra freezer space. But what I liked about this is I've got all this freezer space, I've got this fridge space, but the original idea was to use the whole thing as a freezer when travelling. So you can actually take this basket out. You can take that basket out, well I won't because I've got some Heineken in there, and you can take the divider out, look. So you could use the whole thing as a freezer, or you can even just leave that divider in. And on here, you've got different zones, look. So you've got the zone here for the freezer, and then you've got the fridge zone. So you can turn this, you know, all the way down to like -20, I think it is. Yeah, -20. And then you've got your fridge, which mine's set to 3 degrees. Can you see that? It's probably flickering on the camera, isn't it? But that's your separate. That's your two separate zones. Or you can have them both the same. So if you want it as one large fridge, for example, with a divider in there still, so you don't, you know, if you don't want to take the baskets out, you could then just set it to whatever temperature you want. Because I think that's one of the issues that you have when you're travelling is you have a fridge, but you don't really have anywhere for any frozen stuff. So I was kind of thinking about that, and then when they said to me, do you want one? I was like, yes please. And they said, yeah, just we'll send you one and just do a quick video about it. So I thought, actually, while this is relevant, now's a good time to talk about it. So this is the 50 litre one that I've got here, and the make is a Bose. So if you're interested in one of these, I'll leave a link in the description below and you can go check it out. So now that I've got all of this all laid out exactly how I want it, everything's screwed down now. Got the little positive bus bar there, charger, Turbo GX, solar controller, links, distributor, and the power on and off switch for the battery. Time now to start wiring these components to the links. I think that's the first job that I'm going to do. I've already gone ahead and made up my first little connection using the tried and tested crimpers that I had for my caddy van. I've had to buy some larger ones for the 95mm cable because that's like bloody thick as anything. But this is alright with these. So I'm going to get one of these made up. I'm going to get this connected first. So it comes out the battery terminal into the positive on the links distributor. So I'm going to get some of these made now, start making lengths of cable up. Right, I've managed to wire up that so far, and I'm just doing my last cable. I've just put a lug on it, and I'm just putting a bit of heat shrink on it now. And that end is going to go into the Orion. I didn't film all of this because I didn't think you'd want to watch me making cables for the last hour. However long it took me. I don't know how long it took me actually. I'll be measuring, drilling holes, in this board, trying to get this board tidy. I'm trying to get it as tidy as I can anyway. So I've managed to get that wired up. Got this little positive bus bar. So that's a 16mm cable, because that's all that can go in there. So you've got to step it down. So that's why I got that. That's why Roma, should I say, supplied that to me. And then a 25mm goes in there from my starter battery. And then I'm going to turn it around, turn it over, and then I'm going to tidy all these cables up. I just thought that would look neater if they're all running like that, rather than running along here behind. That was my plan, and it seems to be working out. So I'm really pleased with what's happening at the minute. Right, we're on a new day today. I have been away, went away for a couple of days, went to see my kids. Had a nice couple of days, spent Father's Day with them, which was brilliant. But now I'm back on this job. So, there is a bit of progress. I have been doing a few things off camera, because I just wanted to sort of crack on with it really. I didn't want to record every little step, because it's just going to be a long boring video. So I'll show you what I've done so far. Right, I've got the board up right now. I've managed to put the battery up there. It's a sort of test fit to see exactly where I want the battery to go, whether I want the terminals this side or this side, stuff like that. You got to try and work out. I've also now connected the consumer units. Well, not connected them, sorry, that's the wrong word. I've mounted them. I've mounted the solar cut-off switch as well. I've mounted the 12-volt fuse boxes, the two of them. So I've been measuring, just making sure everything's, you know, nice and symmetrical, because I want it all looking nice. I've got it all in there. So I've also been strengthening this. I've just put some more screws in there, there, and also I've put screws in the back into this piece here to make sure this is as strong as I can get it for this battery, because this battery is 40 kg. So I've done that, and I've also done it on the piece, the upright vertical piece that's going to be holding the inverter. So I'm just trying to make this as strong as I can, but it will also be bolted to the wall of the van using these holes that are already pre-drilled, and I've got some bolts to go into rivets on the van, so it'll be bolted to the van as well. So it should be really secure. You see, what takes the time is trying to like work out stuff like this. So I've got this Class T 400 amp fuse, okay, that's going to go on there, and this is the holder for it, and that connects to the positive on the battery. But I've got this 95mm cable. Look how thick it is. Now I've got to figure out the best way of routing that to that switch. Now it sounds easy, it's only got to go to that one port, but the stuff don't bend very well. It doesn't bend too good. Look, I mean, one-handed, I know it's hard to show you, but yeah, as you can imagine, it doesn't really bend. So if I sort of routed it down there, through there, it's probably not going to go down there and bend up to there. So I've got to figure out how to get it to this switch in the most efficient way possible. Now I'm just assuming that if I have the terminals this end, it's going to be better because it's going to be less cable, as opposed to having, you know, the terminals that end and having that cable running right now. I don't even know if I've actually got enough cable, because it would actually probably run along there or under there, and it wouldn't look very tidy. So I want to put it through there. So I may run it across there on the top bit up, and then down through there, and then see if I can get it to go into there. But it doesn't quite line up. If that was in line with there, it'd probably be a lot easier. But yeah, I'm going to go and try and figure that out now. Now I get to try out my new tool on this 95mm cable. I've got it ready for a lug. I'm going to use one of these 95 or an M10 bolt, because these are M10 fittings on there. And they're also M10. So I need to just terminate the one end first, try this new tool out. I've got my 95mm dies in there, look. Let's see how good it is. I suppose I'll just keep doing it until I can't do it anymore, I guess. Well, that's the crimp. that seems proper solid. It's nicely crimped in the end as well. There, you can see it's nice and squashed. Yeah, that's doing the job. Wasn't hard actually. Only thing is, I've got no heat shrink big enough for it, so I'm going to have to get some. Right, got a bit going in there, got a hole drilled in there, so got to clean up. That should go nicely straight to the switch. I think that's crimped. Yeah, that's the other one done. Just don't make the same mistake I did. I've done the lugs both ends. I can't put it through. Didn't bother to check that, did I? Right, I've just realised another little mistake that I've made. I've been busy putting little grommets in here, you know, taking out the little metal bits, putting a grommet in, installing these RCBOs, just putting the fronts on, just to double check everything. And it hits my fuse box. Right, I'll move them over. Now that one works. I can obviously access them all. But the most annoying thing is now, all my holes that are drilled are now not going to be in exactly the same place as the bungs underneath. So the cables will go slightly to the, well, to the left if you're looking at it this way. And I know that's not major, but it's just annoying, isn't it? I did want it to be, you know, as perfect as I could get it. And I know you're never going to see it. And I know I'm never going to look at it again and go, oh, them holes are not quite centre. But I will for a while. It will just be in here, gnawing away at me. I'll get over it. Literally just making these cables up from the fuse box. And that's the last thing really. I need to get connected to the links distributor. And that means everything will be powered at that point. And I think then we're done. As in like this stage. Apart from connecting the Servo GX up, actually I've got that to do next. Heat shrink. Right, effectively this is the last connection to the links distributor. I'm just going to make sure these bolts are tight. The links distributor. Oh no, silly me. Fuse goes on first. Then the lug, then the washer, then the spring washer, and then the bolt. That's nipped up. I believe that's the right way of doing it. I do know this. They have to be torqued up. According to the Victron's website, 14 Newton meters. Oh, you're in the way. There we go. There's that one. And this one. there we go. So they've all been torqued up to 14 Newton meters. I haven't done this one because that's where the multiplus inverter is going to be going. So I think we can now put the cover back on. So I've also wired up the fuse boxes now, but I am going to, I don't know whether to clip these down or not, but they're not really going anywhere, are they? So I mean, they're pretty rigid. I don't really think I need to be honest. So yeah, so I've basically daisy chained the two fuse boxes together with a negative and a positive, and then I've got my negative and positive going out there, and that's going up here into the links distributor. And I've also just added this, I only forgot to do this, it's a ground cable from the MPPT. It needs a ground, so you can either connect it to your chassis ground or your links distributor. Just so happened that I had a cable already made up with the right lugs on it, would you believe, like it was meant to be. I made it by mistake earlier when I was doing the fuse box, an M8 end there and an M6 end there, so it wasn't quite long enough to run underneath like all the rest, but I think that looks alright there. That'll do. I'm happy enough with that. It's black anyway, so you won't really notice it. But that's just me waffling now and being OCD about silly little things. I don't know if I've already mentioned it, but I've also got the solar cables in as well. They're going through there and they're going behind there and coming through the bottom there into the MPPT. I can't obviously put the top ones in until I've put this into the van, because I've got the solar cables already there ready to go in the top. The only thing I've got left to do is to plug in the Serbo GX, which shouldn't take long. Just got to plug it into all this stuff like I said. So I think for this part of the video, I think I'm actually done. I can't do the heat shrink on these because it hasn't turned up, so I've got to wait for that. I've ordered it on Amazon. Wait for that to turn up so I can do those cables. Same as the battery cable down there, look. Just need to get some heat shrink for it. I've also installed the RCBOs as well. But again, I can't really do anything with those until I got the inverter. So really, yeah, I need the inverter to complete this build. Just got to go and grind off these as well. And my inverter will be going there. So overall, pretty happy with that. So I think I'm going to call it now on this video. It's going to be a two-parter, because the next stage will be me putting this all into the van, putting the battery on, connecting the battery up. Oh, just reminded myself actually, I do have to make like a little frame to hold the battery. So I need to get some wood for that and then paint it black. I've also ordered some battery straps off Amazon, so I'm waiting for those as well. But I don't need them at the minute, so I can do that when I put it in the van. So I'm hoping I can get all these little bits done, and I'll get this in the van, and then you can join me on the next video. And if you've got any questions about anything that I've done on this one, feel free to drop it into the comments and ask me. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful as well to some of you that you know, don't really understand this kind of stuff. I'm not a professional, like I said. I've done my caddy van. I've done a few little 12-volt projects with like amps and subwoofers in the past when I was a younger lad. So I know my way around a crimper and a bit of heat shrink, but that's about it. So yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.